Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Petham, and today I'm joined by Alex Klenman, CEO of Tisdale Clean Energy. They trade on the CSE under the ticker TCEC. Alex, it's great to see you again.
James, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So let's kick things off with a quick overview. Can you give us the elevator pitch for Tisdale?
Sure, I hate elevator pitches, but I'll give you one. We're an uranium exploration company developing an actual uranium deposit in the southeastern portion of the Athabasca Basin in Saskatchewan. We have a relatively tight capital structure. We have the ability to earn into a multi-million pound deposit that has upside both in size and grade, and extreme exploration upside on the rest of the property as well. So we're poised for the run ahead. If you believe in uranium and the thesis of the supply issue that we face, then I urge you to listen to what we have to say today about Tisdale.
Great. Thank you for that summary. And a couple of points I'm going to pick up on there a little later. But maybe if we could start with the ongoing exploration work that's happening at the South Falcon East project. Can you give us an overview of the program there?
Yeah, you bet. Well, our first order of business was to begin to confirm the grade and the mineralization within the known deposit. It's non-43101 compliant. It's an older 43101, so we intend to bring that up to compliance. So our first order of business was to drill, twin some holes, previous holes. 2015 was the last drill program. Skyharbour did that. They're our earn-in partner on the deal, and prior to that, it was a company called JNR Resources that was bought out by Denison. So there's been limited drilling, but enough to delineate a deposit, and so we wanted to get in there and drill a few holes. We've done two so far. Both have hit mineralization as high as 0.11% U3O8. The grade average of the deposit is low at 0.03, so anytime we can get into double digits, we're beginning to do the part of what our strategy is to raise the grade. We know that there's been drill holes as high as 0.552%, 0.242%. So there's a higher grade feeder in the neighborhood. We'd like to find more of it and bring up the grade, but we know that we're a shallow deposit down to about 200 meters. 100 to 200 meters is the mineralized range. So quite compelling to be able to start life as an explorer with a deposit with the ability to earn the majority interest in the deposit. I don't think there's another company, especially in our market cap space, that can say that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a very exciting proposition. You mentioned Skyharbour Resources there, well known in the region, and you recently appointed Jordan Trimble to your board, who has also been a part of Skyharbour. Can you tell us about that move? What experience does Jordan bring? What does it mean for the future of Tisdale?
Yeah, no, well, I've worked with Jordan for quite some time. A lot of respect for him and his company. They've done great work in the basin. They're one of the leading project generators in the Athabasca. They also have a JV with Rio Tinto. They've got their Russell Lake and Moore projects. So they're doing it on all fronts. We brought Jordan on to the advisory board specifically for his knowledge. He is one of the most articulate and in the know people in the uranium space. He speaks at conferences. He's a great interview. He knows everything from production and supply to where things are going and what's been happening. So to have him on board, have him closer to the deal is really twofold. We gain knowledge on our management from him, but also our earn-in partner is a little closer to the deal. So we have the ability to work with Skyharbour at a little bit more intimate level, and I think that's beneficial to our shareholders.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly an interesting, I guess acquisition would be the right word, a talent acquisition perhaps. I want to talk a bit about not only the year ahead for Tisdale, but even looking a little bit longer in terms of the long-term strategy here. Could you break down maybe what the 1-year plan and the 5-year plan looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question because it does address several things. Number one, we're going to drill. We're going to continue to drill. Every drill hole we put down potentially expands the grade and size of that deposit, number one. Number two, we know what our expenses are ahead, what the costs are. Whereas 95%, if not more, of the exploration companies out there can't can't quantify or define those costs. A, they don't know when they're going to make a discovery, and B, they don't know how many holes it will take to get there and replicate those discovery holes to build out a deposit. We know exactly where we're going. We can buy millions of pounds. At 7 million pounds, it's about $2.50 a pound. In a good market, we can get $7, $8, $9 a pound credit for that. So that's 3-4 years down the line. We drill, we earn our interest in the deposit. We know exactly how much it's going to cost, and it's really just a function of being able to capitalize the company and put that money in the ground. And we know that we have a reasonable shot at doing that ahead. But right now we're trading at, even if you do the high cutoff, which is 0.04% on the cutoff, that gives us a 0.056 grade. There's 2.7 million pounds. We're 2.7 million market cap, so we're getting $1 a pound. That could easily be in 2 years or 3 years much higher based on where spot's going, and the value of deposits. We can't underestimate that. Listen, there's supply issues all over the planet. We know that Kazatomprom and Cameco can't meet their own production estimates. We know that companies like Orano are having problems globally. There's very little supply coming online. If in the basin we had 100 extra million pounds today, we're no closer to getting that turned into sellable fuel with 2 mills. So the supply situation is pointing towards the fact that a 10 million pound deposit or even a 7 million pound deposit in 2 or 3 years is going to be a very valuable piece of ground.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I think certainly there's interesting fundamentals there. Just on that uranium macro market, what's your outlook there? I mean, we touched on some shortfall in supply, but we've been here before when it comes to some green energy metals. I think lithium has kind of had astronomical rise in price, and then pretty strong fall back down to earth. When people thought the fundamentals were there for the clean energy transition, and then more supply came online and brought that price back down. Where do you see the differences between uranium and lithium, and what's your investment case for uranium?
Yeah, night and day. There are, let's just put it into perspective, there are close to 1,400 working gold mines on the planet. By comparison, there are 36 in the uranium space. We have, hundreds of existing nuclear reactors. We have a record number in the pipeline across the world now, more and more every day. We're having trouble, as I mentioned. Cameco, the world's 2 largest producers, can't meet their own production estimates. We don't have enough right now, barely have enough to service the existing contracts and the existing nuclear reactors. Where's the new supply coming from? There isn't a country on the sidelines that has 10, 100, 200 million pounds of uranium that they can dump into the market. It's the most highly regulated commodity in terms of trading. It's also very difficult to move. There's just not enough. Countries like China, they're building their own reactors. They're not going to sell fuel to the rest of the world. We've got issues with the Eastern Bloc, like Kazakhstan and any kind of Russian involvement. We're in a position now that we've never been in uranium. And don't underestimate that. It's very real. There is no magic wand. If 100 million pounds came online tomorrow, as I mentioned, it's not going to be turned into fuel anytime quick in terms of anything in the basin anyway. So we're a ways off. There's no comparison between lithium and really uranium is its own beast, and the supply situation that we're under right now is generational.
Great, thank you for that overview, and I think it's certainly an exciting time to be involved in uranium. I mean, you touched on the Athabasca Basin there. Pretty crowded in terms of lots of uranium players operating in the space there. What sets Tisdale apart? When you're looking at Tisdale versus other juniors and other explorers, other even mid tiers, what makes Tisdale a valuable or a unique investment opportunity?
Yeah, and it's one word: the deposit. The ability to buy pounds. We know there's a deposit there. We've already drilled into it ourselves. We know that the existing supply in that deposit is around 7 million pounds at 0.03%, or as I mentioned, 2.7 million pounds at 0.056%. So great grows. We have pounds in the ground. No other junior, no other 5 million or 3 million or 2.5 million market cap can offer that. And we're discounted today at a price that seems absolutely outrageous, and it is. But a 3 million market cap with the ability to earn pounds is just, I don't think there's another company. I urge anybody listening to this to go do their due diligence. And if you find anybody, send me an email. I've asked people around me to see if to really look into this and see if anybody else can offer this, and we haven't been able to find anybody. You might find some drill holes that some of the larger companies may have had. But in terms of being able to turn those drill holes into a deposit, we're ahead of the game. We know what's there. We know we're fairly confident we can expand its size and grade. So if we can get to 10 million pounds, listen, there are 10 million pound deposits in the U.S. in production. Using ISR and other technologies. So, we're going to look into that over the next couple of years as we earn into this. We can talk about offtake agreements in the next year or two. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. But the fact that these are actual conversations that we can have sets us apart. The fact that we have the deposit sets us apart. Our risk comes in terms of how much money we can raise and how the step-out holes go. Can we find more deposits in line with this one? We think they pod or they cluster like a string of pearls. Can we find more? And can we up the grade? Where is this high-grade feeder that seems to be in the system? Those are the questions that need to be asked. But the fundamental question every other explorer has is, are we going to find anything? They just can't answer that. We know exactly what we have. At the very basic foundation, the beginning, the inaugural. So that sets us apart. The very fact that we're earning into a deposits is a very wholly unique opportunity.
Great. Well, it sounds like it's an exciting future for Tisdale, and you're very interesting to have this earn-in kind of de-risk the future of the project. Alex, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Appreciate it, James. Thank you.